Welcome to the 2025 Australian of the Year Awards for Tasmania, and thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Lucy Cutting from ABC Radio, and it is my absolute pleasure to host this evening here at PW1 in Hobart. I'm taking the reins from ABC breakfast presenter Rick Goddard, who has presented this or hosted this for almost a decade now, but he is on some well-deserved annual leave, taking a holiday somewhere sunny, I think. So firstly, I would like to invite respected elder Uncle Rodney Dillon to the stage to welcome us to country.
Thank you. On behalf of my ancestors who have lived in this land for 2,500 generations, thinking about those old people of these lands and these waterways, thinking of their lives, 2,500 generations have come before me. On behalf of those people, I'd like to welcome you here on our lands today, and thinking of our lands and our old people. If you look around this room and think about the important people that's in this room that have done a lot of good things, you look behind in my history, it's almost like it's invisible. It's like the glass. So thinking about that history that's come before us, the invisible history of my people, and thinking about where we're up to today with that. We're making changes with government, with truth and treaty, and we have a government that is trying to work with us on that today. We think about the healing of our people and their understanding of the lands and their responsibility to those lands and waters as well. And thinking of that history, we done some smoking outside tonight, and we had some wattle in there, and we had tea tree for healing, peppermint for healing. We had paper bark for carrying our babies in. And the wattle was for the start of our year. Our year starts when the wattle blossoms come. And having that relationship with people and understanding that history of who we are and how our things work, bringing that together has been troublesome for the last 200 years. But I think that we are starting to make changes in recognition, and just having a recognition and welcome to country is a major change and a way of people not being frightened to talk about the truth of history. We're here today and we can make changes. I look behind me with the invisible history, and I look beside me and I see little kids in prison, see our people dying younger, kids not going to school, lack of housing, our people living in poverty, and how we want to share of those resources to make that change, that we're not a welfare-based community. They're all the things that we can do to work together with people like the people in this room today. And hopefully within over the years, we can make those significant changes, that we can take those steps, that we don't feel the guilt of the past, that we feel the guilt of responsibility to make change. They're the steps that I would like to see us make as a country, so we can work together and live together and do things equally. Thinking of that, on behalf of my ancestors, who have a very rich history in this country and have a very rich understanding of this place, I welcome you onto our lands, and for you to have a think about that, how we go forward together and understand the truth of how we walk down a lane together rather than with a line in between us. Thank you.
thank you, Uncle Rodney Dillon, for that beautiful welcome to country, as well as speaking your truth as well. I appreciate it. I too would like to acknowledge and pay respect to Tasmanian Aboriginal people, the past, present and future custodians of this island. I acknowledge and pay my respect to Tasmanian Aboriginal elders, past and present. Now, throughout this week, each state and territory are recognising and celebrating extraordinary achievement through the Australian of the Year Awards, just as we are tonight. You'll hear stories of courage, of compassion, resilience and hope. They are stories of often everyday Australians with a passion for making a difference. Whether you're here with us in the room or watching online at australianoftheyear.org.au, welcome and hello to the people watching online. You're in for a great celebration of some incredible people. Please do show your support on social media using the hashtag #OzOfTheYear. The Australian of the Year Awards shine a spotlight on those special people whose contributions lead us, inspire us and make our country a far better place. Welcome to all the nominees and to your families and supporters and representatives. I can't wait to hear your stories, acknowledge your achievements and of course celebrate them with you tonight. I would also like to officially welcome Her Excellency the Honourable Barbara Baker AC, Governor of Tasmania, as well as Emeritus Professor Don Chalmers and the Honourable Guy Barnett, Deputy Premier of Tasmania. Welcome also to John Foreman, Chair of the National Australia Day Council Board, and Mark Fraser, CEO of the National Australia Day Council. Please make them welcome. Also, just a little nod to Joyce and Ali, who are doing the interpreting tonight. I would now like to introduce the Australian Army Band of Tasmania to perform the Australian National Anthem. Please stand.
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you very much to the Australian Army Band of Tasmania. Please be seated. I'd like to welcome to the stage Her Excellency the Honourable Barbara Baker, Governor of Tasmania, to share a few words with us all.
Thank you, Lucy, and thank you to Rodney for his welcome to country. So good evening, everyone. It is my great pleasure to join you tonight for the important celebration of achievement and community. My co-host, our Deputy Premier of Tasmania, Guy Barnett, and I look forward to hearing more about our nominees and presenting awards. May I begin by acknowledging the Muwinina people upon whose country we gather. I acknowledge today's Tasmanian Aboriginal community as ongoing custodians of country. I recognise their deep connection to land, sea, sky and waters. Tonight, we recognise outstanding individuals who contribute to our state with unwavering dedication and commitment. The Australian of the Year Awards celebrate personal achievement, commitment and contribution to our community. Our nominees are role models. They are leaders, advocates and champions. Their stories remind us that you can change lives through groundbreaking research, dedication to the welfare of others, advocating for causes of our most vulnerable, or inspiring others. Our Tasmanian nominees join some 137 others who are being recognised nationwide, and those selected tonight join all state and territory finalists with the announcement of the national awards on the 25th of January next year. All our nominees have been put forward by our community, and may I quote National Australia Day Council CEO Mark Fraser, "The Tasmanian nominees for 2025 are an extraordinary group of people." I cannot agree more. So may I congratulate all our nominees and thank them for their contributions. We are proud of each of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. This year we received thousands of nominations from the public, nominating someone who inspires them. After a very difficult shortlisting process, the 16 incredible nominees here tonight were selected by a diverse panel of representatives from across our state. Our nominees range from volunteers to professionals to local community members to fearless advocates. They each have their own pathways and motivations, and all I can say is I think we'll all leave this room tonight feeling incredibly inspired. One recipient will be announced in each of the 4 categories: Australia's Local Hero, Young Australian of the Year, Senior Australian of the Year and the Australian of the Year. Those 4 recipients will then join the other state and territory recipients at the National Awards on the eve of Australia Day, with the Prime Minister revealing the national recipients live on ABC. Our nominees are already legends in Australia's eyes, and we thank them for their contribution. Let's give them a huge round of applause. I should also mention at this point that I usually MC festivals, so I strongly encourage you to whoop, yell, cheer in whatever manner you see fit. I will be there supporting you. Now, unfortunately, the Honourable Jeremy Rockcliffe, Premier of Tasmania, is unable to join us tonight. However, he did leave this message for our recipients this evening.
The Australian of the Year Awards recognise our greatest strength, our people. It celebrates the Tasmanians who go above and beyond and whose contributions, whether local, national or global, greatly benefit others. And I want to congratulate each of Tasmania's 16 finalists. Each of you has your own unique talents and strengths and have been recognised at the highest level of your extraordinary efforts. Your stories inspire us to challenge ourselves, reach for our goals and give back to our state and our nation. Each of you has positively influenced the lives of others and made a significant impact, a positive impact on your community. It is an absolute honour to celebrate each of these incredible Tasmanians and everything that they have achieved. So on behalf of all Tasmanians, it is with an enormous sense of pride that I congratulate you, our finalists. I wish you all the very best at the awards and with your future endeavours. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier. Now, our first 2025 Australian of the Year Award for Tasmania is the category of Local Hero, which recognises Australians making a significant contribution in their local community. Let's learn some more about this category, which is supported by the Department of Home Affairs.
Our local heroes are everyday Australians doing amazing things in their local communities. They represent what's great about communities. They keep their communities strong and they are the fabric of our society.
They'll tell you when we open our doors to our neighbours, we open our hearts and we give ourselves the chance to rejoice with others, to learn from them.
Rural people are worth fighting for because they get up and they show up in fire and flood and droughts and plagues and pandemics, and they put food on the nation's table. So the least we can do as a nation is make sure that they're getting support when they look for it.
Hey, it's Tony Burke, the Minister for Home Affairs. I just want to tell you why it's so important that we sponsor the Local Heroes Award. This award, people don't compete for it. People just do what they do. And I love when we recognise people who never sought recognition. There are people who are local heroes because they just very humbly go out and do jobs every day that show leadership through their work. There are people who are local heroes because they stand up for people who, when no one else is standing up for them. There are people who are local heroes because in a moment of crisis, they just step up without thinking about themselves and just helping others. But most importantly, everybody being awarded today did it because of their love of their community, the love of their country, love of the people you are helping. And that is worthy of recognition.
The award not only acknowledges work done so far, but gives encouragement to continue, and that's important.
It's not easy to just sit around and talk about the problems. I urge everyone, be kind and respectful. You too can be part of the change of the solution.
Building a world-class natural history museum is a multi-million-dollar investment. But my question to everyone here is, what is our continent worth? What is the education of our children worth? Australia's future is inextricably linked to its past, and our children are its future custodians. The more they understand it, the better they will care for it. To me, nothing is more important.
Some amazing people there talking about that idea of people doing it for the love of their community. We have our 2024 Local Hero recipient here with us tonight who did exactly that. Claire Harris is here with us tonight. Claire, could you please join me on stage? I really appreciate hearing some people yelling out there. It's very nice to hear we have a festival crowd here. Claire? Claire?
I promise not to make anyone cry this year.
Claire, before we announce this year's recipient, what has life been like for you since being announced as the local hero for Tasmania last year? And what did it mean to your organisation, Tassie Mums?
It's been a huge year. There is absolutely no doubting that. And I'm very happy to say that Tassie Mums has had the privilege, with the immense support of the Tasmanian community, of supporting over 2,500 children facing hardship here in Tasmania. Just this year. And I've used this opportunity and I've seized it with both hands, and I've fought very hard to bring the shocking state of childhood poverty here in Tasmania to the attention of the community. I think that's incredibly important and not enough people know. It's a very hidden thing and it shouldn't be. And we need to highlight it, we need to acknowledge it, and we need to do something about it. I'd also like to take this opportunity to say thank you to the Department of Home Affairs for sponsoring Local Heroes, and of course to the Australian of the Year Awards for providing such a wonderful and uplifting platform for so many great causes. And congratulations to all the local hero nominees tonight. I hope this acknowledgement of all that you do provides as much encouragement to you and your causes and your commitment to them as it has to myself and to Tassie Mums. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Let's give her another round of applause, please. Okay, let's learn about our nominees for the 2025 Tasmanian Local Hero.
Todd Dudley has been dedicated to nature conservation in Tasmania for more than 30 years, working tirelessly from on-ground work through to political advocacy. As the founder of North East Bio-Regional Network, Todd's responsible for a vast array of complex restoration and conservation projects. He inspires the collective environmental conscience in his community, creating positive impacts that will last for generations. Karen Franks is the founding director and CEO of the organisation Young Leaders of Tasmania. Witnessing her daughter's schooling experience, Karen recognised the power of inclusion for people living with disability and a need to foster better relationships. The organisation's range of statewide programs builds individual capacity and facilitates peer-to-peer interaction between students in support schools and mainstream schools, increasing leadership potential. Demonstrating strength and generosity at a time of immense grief, Damien Green created the fundraiser Archie's 100. Through this fundraiser, Damien honours the loss of his 7-year-old son Archie by advocating for organ and blood donation, as well as running events that have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in funding to benefit the Royal Hobart Hospital's neonatal and intensive care unit. Duca Willis-Hart is a proud knowledge sharer, cultural guide and creative who's passionate about preserving and passing on sacred Indigenous culture. Through his work with Hart Cultural Connections, he's reshaped the Tasmanian tourism landscape and created a vital space for cultural learning and appreciation. An advocate and mentor, he's empowering others in his community by inspiring pride in culture.
We're so lucky to have people like these in our community. Deputy Premier, I now invite you to present each nominee with their certificate. And of course, there is a photo opportunity, and when you leave the stage, please head along the other way. First, Todd Dudley. Karen Franks. Damien Green. Duca Willis-Hart. Let's give them another round of applause, please. Deputy Premier, over to you.
Thank you. Drum roll. Got the envelope. Here we go. And the 2025 local hero for Tasmania is Karen Franks.
Thank you, Deputy Premier, and congratulations, Karen.
Thank you.
I can see the emotion, but how do you feel knowing someone put you forward for this recognition?
Well, that person is in the audience tonight, and when they approached me to say that they were thinking of nominating me, it was very overwhelming, and to be honest, it still is. Very much feelings of imposter syndrome, and yeah, it's just an honour to be here because everyone in the room has done amazing things for their communities, and not only here tonight but within Tasmania. We're very lucky to have so many amazing community-minded people that just give of themselves to help others.
Tell me about the inspiration behind your work.
So my daughter, or my husband is here too, and our daughter was, or she is, the inspiration behind what we do with Young Leaders of Tasmania. She was born with a significant disability. When she was born, I remember thinking, I can't do this. I'm not a special needs mum, I don't know enough about disability. But she's taught me so much more than what we have ever taught her, and she's the inspiration. Watching her in primary school interact with her peers and, sorry, this is very overwhelming, interact with her peers in her classroom was the reason we started Young Leaders of Tasmania. We saw how much that influenced her peers, their growth and their development blossomed just through working with Bella. And they had no fear. At that age, they have no stigma of disability. Bella was just Bella, and her magic and her influence on them really affected their lives. So we started talking with the principals of the support schools in Howrah and the local primary school where Bella attended, Bell Reef Primary. And throughout that process, we started a pilot program where we take students from mainstream schools into the support schools, and we work with a child with a significant disability for the duration of the school year. So it's a win-win, a reverse inclusion type model where both students benefit so much from each other. They learn about communication tools, about disability, and yeah, it's just blossomed from there.
Karen, I imagine it might be difficult to choose, but what are you most proud of from your work?
I think seeing the young leaders' acceptance of disability is the biggest inspiration for me. That's really where the magic happens. I coordinate and manage and run the program now, which is about to go statewide. But it's really when I sit back and are able to observe the magic that occurs in the classrooms. And since the classroom program, we now have a social program outside of the schools and a holiday program as well. So we can really see that inclusion happening just naturally. It's happening without us having to implement theory books, like it's within all of us. We just have to tap into that.
And where would you like to see the biggest change in the sector that you're working in?
I think really acceptance of disability. As a community, there is still so much stigma surrounding disability. I think that's why tapping into our younger generation, they're our future, right? They're our future leaders. If they grow up accepting disability as the norm, then that can only benefit people with disability like my daughter and her peers to improve their life.
My absolute pleasure to be able to say this. 2025 Tasmanian local hero, Karen Franks. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
So much. Thank you.
Now onto the Young Australian of the Year category, supported by the Australian Government Office for Youth. This award was introduced in 1979 and recognises inspiring young Australians aged between 16 and 30 years of age who have already accomplished great things. Let's hear more about our Young Australian of the Year category from some past recipients.
When you look at the Young Australians of the Year, we're all reminded that our future is in really good hands.
I've been given an opportunity in such a beautiful country to be myself, and for me the most important thing is to help the next generation and also inspire them to be themselves and follow their dreams.
We have the power to shape the future and make Australia a place where we're all proud, where we all belong, and where we stand united.
I'm beyond proud to congratulate you as our exceptional state and territory finalists for the 2025 Young Australians of the Year. Now, as Minister for Youth, I'm honoured to support and sponsor the Young Australian of the Year program, shining a light on the wonderful achievements of young people right across the country. Each of you are leading examples to your peers, your communities, and the entire country, creating a better and brighter future. You are each being recognised for your incredible achievements, demonstrating the extraordinary things young Australians can accomplish. Now, I can't wait to see the incredible contributions you will make next, and I wish you nothing but success.
The Young Australians of the Year have a really impressive energy and a drive to make Australia a better place.
I simply couldn't live with myself, knowing that there were Australians suffering from medical conditions that could be treated.
It is still crazy to me that I've done what I have in sport, and I want young kids to know that I was once in the same position that they are now, hoping and dreaming of one day of doing something big. I want to have an impact on people's lives by encouraging them to push hard and go after their dreams and what they're passionate about.
It is very reassuring to know that these young people are the future of our nation. Unfortunately, our 2024 Tasmanian Young Australian of the Year, Nayara, is unable to be here with us this evening. She is absolutely blazing a trail in London at present. However, she has sent us this video message.
Hello, what an exciting evening this is. My name is Nayara and I'm the Young Australian of the Year for Tasmania Lutruwita for 2024. And what a year it was. I'm currently coming to you from London on the other side of the world, where I have been pursuing my dreams and my if only of being an actor over here. And I've done a bit of it so far, but I hope to do more in the future. And I can't wait to be performing in Australian stages and theatres in the future. But I'm so proud to be here to represent the arts, to represent mob in my day-to-day life, in some of the biggest shows and some of the smallest communities. My world is so exciting and I'm so happy that I got to be a part of some amazing things the last year and get to meet all sorts of people, be a part of huge conversations that really matter, especially to mob, at a time where we need to hear mob voices. And it's absolutely critical. So thank you so much, Tasmania, for having me as your Young Australian. I'm so proud of my island home. And I always just have such a little warmth in my heart when I hear of Tasmania Lutruwita. Thank you so much to Dr. Lila Landowski for nominating me for this award. We need to keep great people around us. And if you look around the room tonight, we are surrounded by amazing people who we need to celebrate. And it's so exciting to be a part of the history of this award. And to see all the amazing people around in this room tonight who are the leaders of the future and who have led Tasmania to be what it is today. Thank you so much for letting me be your Young Australian of the Year, Tasmania. I hope everyone has a great evening, and the biggest congratulations to all the nominees. You are doing amazing things and the world needs you. You're incredible. Have a great night.
Thank you, Nayara. So much inspiration in such a short video. Now, without further ado, let's hear the achievements so far for our nominees for the 2025 Tasmanian Young Australian of the Year.
As a woman thriving in a traditionally male-dominated field, Elsie Bird has shattered glass ceilings and inspired countless others to follow in her footsteps. The first female apprentice at her workplace, Trailblazer Elsie has become a mentor and advocate for new apprentices, especially other young women. She champions a diverse and inclusive construction industry that rewards passion, drive and dedication. Dr. Ella Smalley is both a medical science postdoctoral research fellow and a person diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. This led her to join the Youth Cancer Action Board, advocating for improved cancer care for adolescents and young adults. Through her leadership and resilience, initiatives such as subsidised fertility preservation and advancements in mental health care have positively impacted cancer patients nationwide. As an Olympic gold medalist and world record holder, Ariane Titmus OAM has already achieved more in her sporting career at the age of 24 than most could dream of in a lifetime. Launceston-born Ariane has shown huge dedication and grit, becoming an Australian icon, renowned for her incredible performances in freestyle events, as well as a role model for other young swimmers. Romany Wake is a domestic violence survivor who's channelled her own immense trauma and loss into positive action. Through her work as a community volunteer, passionate speaker, activist and fierce advocate for other victim survivors, Romany has worked to make legislative changes that aim to end violence against women and children and change how the courts handle domestic violence cases.
Deputy Premier, would you please present each nominee with their certificate, starting with Elsie Bird. Dr. Ella Smalley. Ariane Titmus OAM, represented by Steve Titmus. We have Ariane joining us online this evening, and Romany Wake. I think another round of applause for them all. Deputy Premier, if you could do the honours, please.
Thank you, Lucy. The envelope is now open. Drum roll is happening. It's the 2025 Young Australian of the Year for Tasmania is Ariane Titmus.
To accept the award on behalf of Ariane, but Ariane is joining us from Melbourne tonight. I'll give Steve a moment to collect the award and then we'll have a chat with her. Welcome, Ariane, and congratulations on being our 2025 Tasmanian Young Australian of the Year. I'd love to know, where did your passion for swimming start?
Firstly, thank you. I'm so upset I couldn't be there tonight. Unfortunately, I had work in Melbourne locked in a long time ago. But at least Dad can be there to collect my award tonight. But my passion for swimming started when I was really young. I joined Riverside Aquatic in Launceston when I was 7, and it just kind of went from there. I was always a keen swimmer. I tried my best. I just loved being in that squad environment, and I'm very fortunate that I had a family that believed in me and let me do what I wanted to do. They didn't ever push me to swim. I just felt so much support from my family, and then I've just ended up where I am now, and it's crazy. I pinch myself every day that this is my life.
What impact are you seeing from your work in the pool on young people?
Something that I'm really passionate about is proving to people that it doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, whether you're a girl or a boy, a woman or a man, what your religion is, where you come from, that you can really achieve anything you want to. And two very vital ingredients are belief and hard work. I think that I've gone to show that coming from a small town out of Tassie in probably the coldest part of the country doesn't mean that you can't become a champion swimmer on the world stage. And I came back to Tassie a couple of weeks ago and met so many young children, and the biggest takeaway for me was that they told me, "You've inspired me to go after something at school or try my best and try a new sport, or you've shown me that maybe I can become an Olympian as well." And sport is so much more than just athletic performance. People really look up to athletes and listen to athletes and what they have to say. And I truly feel my position in the world and now the voice that I have. And I think if you do the right things with it, you can make massive impact in the world. And I'm actually really proud that in this category tonight, it was 4 amazing women. And I feel so proud that I'm a woman in this country at the moment that's kind of leading the charge for women in sport. We've got a long way to go, but I think that that's something I'm really passionate about. And it all starts from girls staying in sport in school, and currently the dropout rate for a 15-year-old girl is 50% in sport while they're in school. And I think we need to get that number higher, and inspiring young girls to stay in sport and chase their dreams, whether it's academically, co-curricularly, in the arts, in sport. I hope that I've had an impact in some way.
I'm sure you have. What's next for you?
Oh, my life is just an absolute whirlwind at the moment, hence why, unfortunately, I can't be there tonight. I've been on the speaking circuit telling my story. I feel like that's really important to me to share how far I've come and how I got to this point. Hasn't been an easy story. My dad's there tonight. Mum and Dad packed up everything, had the belief in me as a 14-year-old girl to move away to a big city and leave our home in Launceston, which we all love. So I'm really passionate about sharing my story. I'm honestly at the moment on a break from swimming and trying to enjoy my life as much as I can. It's a tough slog as an Olympic athlete. So I plan to go back to the water next year and get training again for the LA Olympics.
Ariane, is there a piece of advice that you would love to leave young people with today as part of your speech?
Oh, I just think, like I was saying before, I think in this world, there's so many external factors that can impact you going after something that you really believe you're capable of. I think there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of people that are going to tell you their opinion of you or what you're capable of. And I think it's having that gut instinct and that belief in yourself to truly know what you're capable of. And I think that's something that a lot of young people deal with, and it's about backing yourself, working hard, and going after, what you believe you're capable of. I believe that everyone in the world is destined for greatness in some capacity, and whether that's being the best school teacher that you can possibly be or ending up being an Olympic champion in swimming, my advice would just to be give anything a crack, be fearless, because what's the worst that can truly happen? That would be my advice. Yes.
2025 Tasmanian Young Australian of the Year, Ariane Titmus, AOM, congratulations.
Thank you.
An OAM, I should say. Now, the Department of Health and Aged Care is the category partner for our next award, which is the Senior Australian of the Year. This award celebrates those Australians aged 65 years and over who continue to achieve and make a difference. Let's hear more about our Senior Australian of the Year category.
The Senior Australian of the Year award is an award that really carries a lot of respect because it's a reflection of many decades of work by the recipient.
Here in Australia, we are fortunate to be the home of the oldest continuing surviving cultures in the world. This is something we should be proud of and we should celebrate.
I pray that all people in our wonderful country, Australia, regardless of language, culture, skin colour or religious belief, may stand tall as proud Australians.
The Senior Australian of the Year award recognises and celebrates the incredible achievements of older Australians around the country. As the Minister for Aged Care, I want to congratulate all of you on being nominated. Ageing well means staying healthy and connecting with community. Improving the lives of others shows your continued passion and commitment to living well. I wish you all the best in the finals, but importantly, I want to acknowledge that every one of you should be proud of your continued achievements. You are an inspiration to all of us, and your legacies will benefit the nation for generations to come.
The Senior Australians of the Year are inspirational not only to other senior Australians, but to all Australians, and particularly to the younger generations coming through.
Bystander first aid is proven to prevent death in those vital minutes before an ambulance arrives.
We need equal rights, including fundings, services, and resources, so we can work side by side and support each other. And together we can share new ideas to heal our nation. Ko ngal madaya karambang jama. Let all stand up and work together. Thank you.
Our 2024 Senior Australian of the Year, Reverend Jim Colville AM, is also here. Please do join me on stage as well, Jim. And please give him a round of applause. Jim, how has your year been as the recipient of this amazing award?
I'd like to start off by just thanking a lot of people, and that's only some of the ones that have been so helpful this year. I'd like to recognise Your Excellency and Deputy Premier, Mr John Foreman and Mr Mark Fraser, nominees, ladies and gentlemen. 2024 was an amazing year for me. I'd also like to thank Nicole Harmon and Emily Broadbent in Canberra, and Jordan Edmonds and Amber Jacobs that are locally in the Department of Premier and Cabinet. My fellow 2024 nominees, Stephanie, Claire and Nayara, whom have become new friends. A number of other people, and especially a lot of people from the ABC that I've met, and they've been absolutely wonderful at all times. I'd also, a week ago, after 51 years, we felt that the name Colony 47 should be changed, as although I had set it up as a new colony which was totally different and open to everyone, the old name still had bad connotations for some of our Indigenous friends. And after consultation with many young people, a new name was suggested by one of them, and that name was Home Base. And this year, and a lot of hard work will be going into an area of great need, which is homeless young people. Each time, if I use the old name, I'm going to be fined a substantial amount of money. And it's very hard to get out of the habit after 51 years. However, I'd briefly like to share with you just 3 quick experiences that I had from the many as 2024 Tasmanian Senior of the Year. First was a tour of honour in Tasmania, and in just 4.5 days we met and spoke with over 1,800 people from primary schools through to high schools and a number of organisations. We were fortunate in Tasmania that we were joined by the wonderful Australians of the Year, Professor Georgina Long and Professor Richard Scolyer. And I met Richard before he was chosen Australian of the Year in Canberra. And his work, of course, with Georgina has been in the area of melanoma. He was looking at the damage on my head caused by excessive time in the sun. And I asked him if I was a good example or a bad example of sun damage. And he replied, "You are a perfect example." In return, I was looking at his damage on his face, and before I could comment, "Was that because of your cancer?" he replied, "No. A fortnight ago I fell off my bike and skinned my face." The first day in Canberra, all the nominees from the 6 states and territories met together to share their stories. When it was Tasmania's turn, Nayara, Tasmanian Young Australian, sat in the spot for the senior. I had to sit in the spot for the young Tasmanian. I can honestly say that Nayara looked amazing for somebody over 65. I regret very much that I let the team down by looking a little older than 25. The last experience I'd like to share with you was when we were taken past Old Government House, and outside were 34 flagpoles with our flag showing on it, of our likeness. A month later, the flag arrived at home. Friends and family gathered around and with lots of laughter suggested 3 things I could do with the flag. 1, fly it from my tall flagpole, that I have done. The second one, on a cold night in Tasmania, use it as a doona on my bed. I've done that. But the third suggestion I haven't done yet, and I don't intend to do it for some time yet, despite the fact that I'm 86. And that suggestion came from them with lots of laughter. It's just going to look amazing wrapped over your coffin. To the nominees for 2025 for Senior Tasmanian of the Year, I congratulate Penelope, Rosemary, Carol and Norman. Your important contribution to our community has been recognised by others. It's something you can be proud of, although I know that was never your prime motivation. To the person chosen to be 2025 Senior Tasmanian of the Year, my sincere congratulations. You are going to experience a wonderful and unforgettable year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim. And after 51 years as Colony 47, can you just remind us what that new name is again? Hope-based. Beautiful, thank you. Okay, with a lifetime of service and success, let's hear the stories of our nominees for the 2025 Tasmanian Senior Australian of the Year Award.
Associate Professor Penelope Blomfield was the first female gynaecological oncologist in Tasmania, dedicating much of her life to the care of patients with gynaecological cancers. A true warrior for women's gynaecological health, she's at the forefront of medical research in her field. Penelope continues to lead her colleagues to find innovative treatments and address disparities for what's often a taboo subject. Rosemary Coleman has dedicated much of her life to young people through her involvement in education and sport. Rosemary's been a prominent and passionate athletics coach, administrator and officiator for 33 years across all levels and has changed the lives of countless young athletes and para-athletes, supporting them to fulfil their potential. With a humanitarian career spanning 23 years, Carol Nagy's unwavering commitment to alleviating suffering has led her to working with international humanitarian organisations. She's delivered emergency health projects in war-torn and disaster-affected regions globally. Her work's driven by a deep belief in the power of compassion and a commitment to providing dignified care to those who need it most. A retired farmer and highly respected community leader, Norman Spur has dedicated much of his life to identifying those in need. Driven by his innate compassion, he's facilitated providing more than 140 tonnes of food to vulnerable people in his community and across the state. Without Norman's foresight and determined efforts, many would have suffered with malnutrition and further poverty.
Such an inspiring group of people. Her Excellency will now present our finalists with their certificates. Associate Professor Penelope Blomfield. Rosemary Coleman. Presented by Leonie Chung. And Norman Spur. Please give them another round of applause. And Carol is joining us from Cambodia online. Hello to you, Carol. Now, Your Excellency, over to you.
Thank you. So I have great pleasure in announcing the 2025 Senior Australian of the Year for Tasmania is Associate Professor Penelope Blomfield.
Congratulations. 2025 Tasmanian Senior Australian of the Year, Associate Professor Penelope Blomfield.
Thank you very much.
First off, please tell me what receiving this award means to you.
Oh, it's huge. Actually, what I would like to say is that most people call me Penny, and they only call me Penelope when I'm really misbehaving. So anyway, my nomination for this award certainly came out of left field as far as I was concerned, and actually I felt very surprised and very honoured. I've been privileged to live and work in Tasmania for many years, providing surgical care to women suspected of having or diagnosed with a gynecological cancer. I think this honour today reflects not just on me, but it reflects on the hard work of the many teams of nurses and medical staff who make up the gynae-oncology service in the south and the north of this state. And I'd particularly like to mention 3 nurses. One is Adele Hudson, the second is Jenny Main, both of whom have worked in this area at the Royal Hobart Hospital for most of their careers and are legends in gynecological care. And they have come along as my guests tonight. And I'd also like to mention Robin Glode from Launceston, who has worked tirelessly to coordinate the care of women from the north of the state. So I'd like to give her a round of applause too. Over the years, I have met so many wonderful Tasmanian women who bravely faced cancer or illness. Gynecological cancer often requires radical and lengthy treatments, and it can be really very challenging. The diagnosis and treatment may also affect a woman's life more broadly. There may be unwanted loss of fertility, or the treatment might precipitate a premature menopause because of loss of ovarian function. It may alter sexual function, and obviously this can influence a woman's feeling of self-worth and also affect their relationships. Often, as surgeons, we are very focused on surgery, which is probably a good thing. But I think because I was aware of all the issues I have just mentioned, I'm pretty sure that I can claim that many years ago, I was one of the first clinicians to push for a government-funded cancer nurse to work with my team to help support women through their treatment and beyond. And I know women often find great support from cancer nurses. I believe that women should all be able to access prompt, expert, and best care, irrespective of what health sector they are using. I also believe that services should be designed to safeguard the care of those most vulnerable and disadvantaged women, who for various reasons might find gynecological examinations and treatment particularly challenging. So often, patients need to be robust to navigate their care in health systems, and this is far from optimal, and I'm sure can be improved in moving forwards. I also think there's many gynecological illnesses where there still exists significant stigma, and I'd like to see this further broken down. Take, for example, urinary incontinence or prolapse. These are conditions that are seldom talked about. They're not seen as a priority by health systems, but they have a profound effect on women and men, for that matter. Individuals are embarrassed, they're scared to mix normally, they may find employment difficult, and they often become socially isolated. I know that such services need to have improved access, and I know they need improved resources. And I hope I can use this platform to normalise conversations in these areas and to push for improvements. I look forward to exploring the challenges of the next year, and I hope I can use this opportunity productively. Thank you.
2025 Tasmanian Senior Australian of the Year, Associate Professor Penny Blomfield. Thank you so much. And I think something else Penny mentioned in her speech is a thank you to nurses as well. Okay, deep breaths. Our final category this evening is, of course, the 2025 Tasmanian Australian of the Year Award. The Australian of the Year category celebrates the achievements and contributions of eminent Australians who are role models for us all. As you know, we've had some dynamic past recipients, and what is fantastic is that they have come from such different sectors and backgrounds. Let's remind ourselves of some of them.
I think we can all really aspire to be like the Australians of the Year. The Australians of the Year really help to shape our nation as we move into the future, which is why we should be so grateful for their ongoing work.
We have to have greater representation of people with a disability absolutely everywhere. In our boardrooms, in our parliaments, in our mainstream schools, on our dating apps, on our sporting fields, in our universities, absolutely everywhere.
If I can make a difference to someone else's life, if they can draw some strength by hearing what I say and knowing that I'm speaking on their behalf, it gives me a lot of hope.
I'm going to continue to be myself, keep standing up for what I believe in, and hopefully by doing this, other people will follow.
When you look back at the amazing list of Australians of the Year over the last 60 plus years, it's an extraordinary group of people. Musicians, athletes, scientists, Aboriginal leaders, advocates, environmentalists, rescuers. It's an amazing list of incredible Australians.
What if instead of spending their precious time and energy at war with their bodies, our young people were free to become the leaders, big thinkers and game changers the world needs more of right now? It's not our bodies that need to change, it's our perspective.
Our mission is 0 deaths from melanoma. To reach it, in addition to prevention, we need a targeted screening program and greater investment in research. This must be a national health priority.
Beyond melanoma and into the broader cancer field, more courage is needed to push treatment boundaries backed by science for the benefit of all cancer patients.
We are lucky enough to have our 2024 Tasmanian Australian of the Year, Stephanie Trethewey, here with us tonight. Please join us on stage.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. Firstly, a huge congratulations to this year's nominees. Strap yourselves in for a huge year. And speaking of strapping yourselves in, I've been given 30 minutes, so get comfortable. I'm kidding, I've been given 5. Over the past 12 months, I've been asked countless times in interviews what this award means to me, and my answer is always the same. It is a huge privilege and I am so grateful. But when they ask me how this award has changed me or impacted my mission, my answer surprises some because I say it hasn't changed anything. Everything I've achieved the past 12 months and everything my team at Motherland has achieved the last 12 months for rural mums across this country, we would have done regardless of this award. I don't do what I do for awards. I do it for impact and change and purpose. But what this award has done has given further validation to the thousands upon thousands of rural mums across this country that they matter. The food that you eat comes from farming families across this country, and make no mistake, it is the women and the mothers holding those households together. But for so long, so many of them have been left behind, left to deal with crippling isolation, with inequality when it comes to accessing services that so many people in urban areas take for granted, and a growing mental health crisis for mothers in the bush. Motherland's mission is to ensure no rural mum is left behind, and tonight I'm so proud to share with you what we've achieved over the past 12 months, starting with just 1 week after the Australian of the Year Awards here in Tassie, where I travelled to Sydney, where Motherland won NBN's National Women in Regional Business Award, and what that award did was unlock critical funding for us to launch Motherland Connect, Australia's first online digital health platform for rural mums, connecting them to the services that they need instantly. In March, we held our first national conference right here in Tassie with over 250 rural mums who came from as far as Western Australia and the Northern Territory for 2 days of incredible connection, a conference that was opened by our Premier, the Honourable Jeremy Rockcliffe, and I thank him and the Tasmanian Government for their continued support of the mental health of rural Australians. Our charity held 4 fundraising events in communities across the country, including Gundawindi, Queensland, Kangaroo Island, South Australia, and Spring Ridge and Bibbinlook in New South Wales. In June, we were absolutely ecstatic to announce the Queensland Government's $1 million commitment to Motherland over the next 3 years to scale our impact, an announcement that has received bipartisan support and is a total game changer for rural mums. Maybe Tassie will be next to come to the party, no pressure, Deputy Premier. In September, the weekly podcast that I host for Motherland hit 1 million downloads, which is a milestone for any podcast, let alone one produced from my kitchen table on our farm for the past 5 years with a $100 microphone. Our team has grown. We now have 9 rural mothers from Queensland, South Australia, New South Wales, Victoria, and me here in Tassie. We've supported over 300 rural mums through Motherland Village, Australia's first online rural mothers group program, connecting them to their own personalised support group, many of whom have accessed our program through our scholarship fund. We've improved the mental health of 95% of participants who came through our program and said they were struggling before joining. Our online community is 20,000 rural women strong, so it's safe to say that we're heading into 2025 feeling so excited for what lies ahead, and to have the support of so many influential people across rural communities and also on both sides of politics, both state and federal, is incredible. The magic of Motherland is growing and it's gaining more and more momentum. I want to say a huge thank you to the entire National Australia Day Council, led by the legend himself, Mark Fraser. Your team has been phenomenal to me this year. Thank you. I want to say a huge thank you to the media nationally. Right here at home in Tasmania, I want to say thank you to the Mercury, the Examiner, the Advocate, the Tas Country and Win News for your integrity and your support of me and the mental health of rural mothers. This year will be a year to remember, and I want to finish by thanking disappointment and hard work for building me into who I am today. One of my favourite quotes in the entire world is, "Everyone is jealous of what you have, but no one is jealous of how you got there." And over the past 12 months, I have worked full-time and so bloody hard along with my team to deliver real impact for rural Australia, and I'm so proud of how far we've come. Finally, my beautiful mother-in-law died in July this year, too young. And it was a jarring reminder of just how short life is and what actually matters. So to my beautiful husband, Sam, and our 2 babies, Elliot and Evie, the past 6 years have been the breaking of us, but ultimately the making of us. And I'm so happy and I love you so much. So cheers to doing hard things. Cheers to being kind and leading with heart. Cheers to making a difference to other people's lives in whatever short time I have here. And cheers to being your 2024 Australian of the Year for Tasmania. It has been an absolute privilege. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steph. An absolutely huge year for Motherland. Okay, for the last time this evening, encompassing inspiration, contribution and excellence, Let's see our incredible nominees for this year's Tasmanian Australian of the Year Award.
Rhys Campbell's groundbreaking research and celebration of edible native plants and seaweeds has generated a whole new appreciation. Rhys works closely with Indigenous groups to collaborate and share knowledge of culinary uses of Tasmanian native flora and has initiated the rehabilitation of threatened species. Her research has resulted in Tasmanian edible native plants now being more widely known throughout the island. Sarah de Jong believes that kindness can change the world. In 2016, she started 1,000 Hearts to offer kindness, hope and comfort to those in need. Through 1,000 Hearts, Sarah inspires people to sew and share pocket-sized fabric love hearts. The hearts are gestures of love and kindness to people facing physical and mental illnesses, trauma or grief. Sam Elsom is a climate solutions innovator who's commercialised a way to reduce global methane emissions. Remarkably, adding just 0.2% of sea feed to livestock feeds can reduce methane emissions by up to 90%. By dramatically reducing methane emissions, Sam is strengthening the sustainability of livestock industries, slowing global warming, and potentially changing the course of our planet's future. Associate Professor Louise Knott has significantly progressed the fight against cancer. Believing that cancer patients in Tasmania should receive the same treatment options as those living on mainland Australia, Louise worked to establish a comprehensive research and clinical trials unit at Icon Cancer Centre Hobart in 2021. The program has offered more than 20 clinical trials to more than 100 public and private patients.
Your Excellency, would you do us the final honour of presenting these remarkable finalists with their certificates, please? First, we have Rhys Campbell. Sarah de Jong. Sam Elson is joining us online, so hello to Sam, and is represented by his kids, Sugar and Captain Elson. And Associate Professor Louise Knott. One of the last times I'll ask you to do this evening, so please put a lot of gusto into it. A final applause, please. Your Excellency, it's our final award. Whose name is in that envelope?
Oh. The 2025 Australian of the Year for Tasmania is Sam Elson.
joining us online. He is currently in South Africa there for the Earthshot Prize. Congratulations, Sam. 2025 Tasmanian Australian of the Year. What is running through your head right now?
Oh my goodness, I'm feeling like a little overwhelmed, incredibly grateful, and extremely humbled. This means a lot, Tasmania. Thank you so much.
Sam, let's go back a step. Tell us about your initial motivation to do what you do now.
So I've spent a lot of my life working in sustainability, but I think as an active environmentalist, I was learning more and more about the changes that we face as a result of increasing carbon concentration in our atmosphere. And we have lived through some of the worst bushfires, the hottest years on record, some of the worst floods, and they've all happened in the last decade. The two children that are in the room on behalf of representing me tonight, my children, Captain and Sugar, are the inspiration really for why I decided to get involved in climate solutions. And it's really their future that I'm trying to sort of create a better outcomes for. I think we're in this unique window of hope and of opportunity. And what we do in this next decade is going to have implications far beyond our years and our life on this planet. So, I guess that's why I started Sea Forest. But, I want to acknowledge also that Sea Forest wouldn't be where it is without the hands of many. They've been supported by an incredible team. Even our local community at Tribunna have embraced everything we've done, no matter how ambitious. Even the local government have been incredible as well. So it's been a team effort, but with a very, I think, important outcome.
Where have you seen the greatest impact of your work?
I think what we're doing really at Sea Forest is we're pioneering the development of a new industry in seaweed aquaculture in Tasmania. We're fortunate to be in one of the most idyllic locations in the world with such amazing natural abundance and some of the cleanest waters in the world. We're also in a place where our seaweed that we grow, Asparagopsis, is annually abundant all around the island. So we've had the opportunity to learn from nature, replicate nature, and also to be able to build industrial scale operations that have helped to support decarbonisation of agriculture. But I think on that journey, probably one of the most exciting things is that we've had to sort of, every time we have a scientific breakthrough, it's the first time it's ever happened in the world. And so, having a team that perseveres through all sorts of adversity to deliver such progress has been really exciting and incredibly rewarding. Obviously, being here in South Africa, having the opportunity to meet and spend time with the Prince and having the support of the Earthshot has been an incredible milestone. Has opened our technology that's happening in the east coast of Tasmania to the rest of the world. And so that's obviously been a huge highlight.
The Australian of the Year award is not a responsibility, it is an award, but people often use it as a platform. What kind of change would you like to see in the next year? I think we have ambitious carbon reduction targets in this country. I think we have to take climate change seriously, and we've really got to get on with the work that we need to do to deliver against those commitments. I think we have 9% of emissions reduction to achieve every single year. We're almost out of time for 2024, and that number will go up to 10% reductions year on year. Last year, global emissions went up by 1%. So we're nowhere near where we need to be in terms of meeting these targets. So I hope to use the platform to advocate for climate action and to really try and use the work that we're doing to create positive environmental outcomes for this new industry that we're building, but also for agriculture and hopefully for Tasmanian farmers. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2025 Tasmanian Australian of the Year, Sam Elsom. What's next for our 4 recipients? Well, They now become nominees for the National Award along with the other states and territory recipients, with the announcement made in Canberra on January 25th. I'd like to welcome to the stage someone who is lucky enough to meet all of our amazing nominees across the country and host the recipients in Canberra in January next year, the Chair of the National Australia Day Council, Mr. John Foreman.
Thank you very much, and I won't keep you long because there's celebrations to be had for all of our recipients tonight. A big thank you to Her Excellency the Governor and the Honourable the Deputy Premier for keeping me company at the table tonight for presenting the awards. And what a fantastic, optimistic night this has been. We've heard about compassion, we've heard about altruism, and we've heard about Australians helping their fellow Australians. And to all of the nominees tonight, a huge congratulations to all of you and to the recipients who I'm looking forward to seeing in Canberra in January. Tasmania's local hero, Karen Franks, for your inspiring work bringing people with and without disabilities together to learn and to play and to grow and to work together. To our Tasmanian Young Australian of the Year, who I hope is still watching us online, Ariane Titmus. What a fantastic role model for Australians young and old, and just that message of using her platform to inspire others to achieve their goals. To our Senior Australian of the Year from Tasmania, Associate Professor Penny Blomfield, for your pioneering work with gynecological cancers and for prolonging lives, saving lives and improving quality of lives for the people that you've interacted with over the years. And of course to our Tasmanian Australian of the Year, Sam, who I hope is still watching us online, for saving the planet one cow at a time, I guess. I wouldn't like to be the person who's responsible for measuring the methane output, but we'll just have to take that science as being, you know, as it's presented, because I don't want that job. To all of those recipients, congratulations. But again, to all of the nominees, I was just thinking about something that Karen said about having imposter syndrome. It's something that a lot of our nominees talk about. And I just want to reassure every single nominee in the room you are here because, first of all, you were nominated by a member of your community, and then you've gone through a very rigorous process to get to this point. And thinking about what Ariane was saying about her using her platform to inspire people, to all of you, if you think back to when you were growing up, if there was someone that you looked up to, whether it was a teacher, a mentor, or somebody in the community that you thought, that's my inspiration. That's the word we keep using tonight about being inspiring. That's the person I want to be like. You are now those people. You take on the mantle of being the inspirers to others in your community, and we really can't ask much more of you as citizens than that. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you very much, John. Just echoing what John was saying there, to all the 16 nominees here tonight, please do remember that someone in your community thought you were amazing, and a lot more people than one person thought you were amazing too. A lot of people do. You being here shows that it does not go unnoticed. To everyone watching and listening, get involved and nominate someone who inspires you at australianoftheyear.org.au and follow the nominate button. And finally, we would also like to acknowledge the partners who make all of this possible. We've heard from our category partners, the Department of Health and Aged Care, Home Affairs and the Australian Government Office for Youth. We also thank our broadcast partner, the ABC. Thank you to our media partner, Australian Community Media, reaching rural, regional and remote audiences around the country. Thanks also to our accommodation partner, Crown Plaza, Canberra, and to our cultural partner, the Australian National University, who produced those amazing trophies. Thanks to our exhibition partner, the National Museum of Australia, and our legal partner, Minter Ellison. Please join me in thanking our partners for their vital support. proceedings, and can I ask that all finalists and recipients come to the stage for some final photographs at the conclusion of the formalities. Don't forget to tune in to the national announcement live on the ABC the evening before Australia Day, and just like tonight, it is an absolutely beautiful and inspirational event. Dessert will be served shortly, and yes, quite the reaction. And we have Isaac Westwood back with us to provide some entertainment for all of you to see out the evening. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and all have a very good evening.